I'm going to show you how to breed pals in Palworld. We're also going to talk about all the combinations which were discovered. There's apparently over 18,000 combinations of pals. But first, let's do how to breed. The first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to catch a Chickpea, a Mozarina, and a Bee Guard. Ideally, multiple of them, but at least one of each. I'm going to show you the habitats of each. So in orange is where you can find Chickpea. And now in orange, this is where you can find Mozarina. And finally, in orange right here is where you can find Bee Guard. Next up, you're going to need to build a ranch if you don't already have one. It's unlocked at like level 5 and just uses wood, stone, and fiber. And then you're going to go to your Pal Box management menu, and you're going to make sure you have a Mozarina, a Chickpea, and a Bee Guard in your actual pals at base down here at the bottom, or have multiple like I do. If all goes well, they should start producing eggs and milk over at the ranch, and you'll just run around and pick it up. Or if you have pals that pick up things and transport things, they'll pick them up for you and take them over to the feeding box, or whatever it's called. Next, you're going to need to build a wheat plantation. This uses wood, stone, and wheat seeds. I don't remember where the wheat seeds were exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was off of grass enemies level 20-ish. So go around to level 20 areas and defeat the grass enemies to eventually get some wheat seeds. For example, the Denosum, it drops wheat seeds. You can find that in these locations, but lots of different high-level grass ones can drop the wheat seeds. Now, ideally, you're going to want a pal that can do watering, a pal that can do growing and harvesting and all that. So go through your pals and check their work suitability. Make sure you have one of each in here, or else you'll have to manually do it in order to make wheat. I'd highly recommend automating and having pals that will do it automatically. Next, you're going to need a mill. Just uses wood and stone. It's going to be like this. You'll need a pal that can do watering in order for it to get used. And you're going to convert that flour that you get from the wheat field, or you're going to get convert the wheat that you get from the wheat field into flour and then put that away. Then once you have all those ingredients, you're going to go to the food tab and you're going to make a cooking pot. It's unlocked level like 17 or something. Uses wood, ingots, flame organs. Ingots are from refining ore using a kindling pal at the furnace. Flame organs are from defeating or capturing any fire pal. So go ahead and build a cooking pot. Then at the cooking pot, you'll have new recipes, and there'll be a recipe for cake. Now, if you have enough flour, milk, egg, honey, and red berries, you'll be able to make cake. And that's one other thing. I just assume everybody has berries. But you'll probably want to build at least one berry plantation at your base. So that way pals will be able to make some berries and hopefully not get eaten by all your pals. But it just depends. One thing that can complicate this is that your pals will take the food and put it in the feed box. And then they'll eat from it. So you kind of need to produce more than they eat, or else you can't really automate it. So in my case, I just overkilled it and put a ton of all the food gathering ones. And also it's important to manage how much food the different pals use when doing this because of that. So for example, this one you see on the right says food, and it has like 6 loaves of bread, means it eats a lot. So keep that in mind when managing your pals. You want to try to min-max what they can do versus how much food they consume, so that way they don't eat all your milk, eggs, and flour and all that stuff. But then either way, if you get enough of it though, you'll be able to go in here and you'll be able to make cakes. Now, in order to make cakes, you'll need a pal that has kindling skill. So for example, my Suzaku has level 3 kindling. So I can put that in the base, or I can, one at a time, I can have my personal pal that I'm using help me out with this and be able to use kindling on this. I can also help at the same time by cooking. Also, he's not using his kindling skill on it, but he's supposed to. But either way, this one is, and you can see him right now using fire on it. So kindling is basically cooking. Once you've made at least one cake, go ahead and acquire it, and now you're ready for the next step. You are going to need to build a breeding station like I have over here. So the breeding station is under the PAL tab. We got breeding farm, uses just wood, stone, and fiber. Once you have one of these set up in your base, what you'll need to do is go over to here. Now make sure this is on level ground, because you can actually have this in the side of a hill, and then your chest will be buried in the ground. You won't know where it is. That was a big mistake I made until we started to figure out. But if you have it on level ground, you can see the chest. Open up the chest and put the cake inside of it. Now the cakes will not rot while inside here, which is very convenient. So once you have that sorted out, you'll need a male and a female present. So the only way to do that is to go over to one of your pals and pick them up and then throw them over here. You'll need to know ahead of time what gender they are in order to get it right. Now, there are some bugs right now on launch that can be really, really annoying. I don't even know what just happened there. I wasn't even holding F and it jumped on. Anyway, some bugs that are really, really annoying. So at least for me, I've been having them, where I'll throw them and it'll say there's nothing to do over here. There's a few different ways to fix that. The most consistent way I've found to fix it is to just go ahead and take your cakes, open the build menu. At the bottom, it says disassembly mode. Press that button, and then just destroy the breeding station, and then either rebuild it or relog and then rebuild it. Once you're back in, go ahead and rebuild the breeding station. Then go ahead and put the cakes back into it, and hopefully that'll fix any issues you're having. So like I was saying before, you can go around, and at the bottom, you can see information about each one of these, but ideally, you're going to want to just go ahead and go over to the actual PAL management menu, and then pick the ones that you want to breed with. Say this Ichthyodeer Terra. I could take this, and I could remove one of the Muzarinas. I could take the Ichthyodeer Terra, look at its gender ahead of time. This one's a female. All right, we got a female of this. press F to pick it up, or if you're on Xbox, I don't know, whatever the button is to pick it up, the interact button, and then take it over to the breeding station. Walk over here and press the interact button again, and now you'll see it's 1 of 1 female. So now all I would have to do is I would have to find a male, which again, ideally, I'll just go ahead and hand pick which one I want to use, so that way I know the gender. It's kind of hard to know without, especially if you have multiples of certain ones. So I could take a chickpea, I could put it away, and then I could find a male in here that I want to breed, like this vanworm, and then it would come in, and then I'd pick it up, and then I'd go over there and throw it in the farm as well. Once you have a cake and a male and a female in here, it'll say love is blossoming between the 2 pals, and you'll see the bar slowly filling on the circular thing there. Once that's done, an egg will appear right there on the ground. And then from there, it's pretty straightforward. Unless you've never done it, you need an egg incubator. In order to get that, it's technology. You go down here, egg incubator, and you'll have to defeat open world bosses in order to get ancient technology points, and in order to get the ancient civilization parts you need in order to build it. Then you can hatch eggs once they are, done here. Now, I'd recommend if you're playing on single player to change the egg hatch rate to 0, so that way it can hatch immediately. It's a lot more fun. But if you have default settings, some eggs will take like 24 hours and stuff, which if you're not playing on a multiplayer server, makes it borderline impossible for casual players. So consider changing some of those things. Now, I was talking about the combinations. Well, we have this right here, which is an insane spreadsheet. I'll link to this in the description of this video if you want it. It's part of this Reddit post on the Palworld subreddit, where this person goes through all the explanations of how breeding works and stuff like that. So it's a good read. I'll link this if you want to go ahead and read through all that on your own in your own free time. And then the spreadsheet here has every single pal, and it has what it turns into. So, for example, 111, Jetragon. And if I were to combine Jetragon with level 40 and Insaram, then I would get like this, and then I would get a war sect. And so you can go through here and find out every combination of breed if you want. Or if you don't want that to spoil the game, you can just do it freehand and write it down and try to figure this out on your own. It's up to you. Although apparently there's about 18,000 combinations or something. So keep that in mind when breeding. It can be a lot. Now, I haven't had a ton of time to do an insane amount of breeding, but what I've seen and heard about is that the passive skills have a higher chance of passing on to the offspring. So, for example, Suzaku has Musclehead. If I were to breed him, the offspring will have a higher chance to get Musclehead as a skill, for example. Now, I'm not 100% sure if that's actually accurate or not, but that's what I've been told. Just going off what I've been told on that one. So, ideally, you'll get one that have like the legendary stats or some stat they like Swift, and then breed that one like crazy until you get offspring that have Swift plus something else that's good, and then use that offspring until you get, increase the odds of getting whichever one. Again, don't know if that's 100% true or not, but that's what everyone told me, so I just trusted it. Now, once the egg is done over here. You can see this here. You can see it's a huge Verdant egg. So you can take that, and then you need to just go ahead and take it over to an egg incubator like the ones I have over here. Now, I have my world set to hatch these instantly now, so I can go ahead and just put this in here and then hold the button in order to incubate, and we'll be able to see what we got from that combination. So that combination gave me a Petalia, which is all right. And then you just keep going like that. And then you could try breeding different things, using cakes, breeding pals. If you need to, you can make multiple breeding stations if you have enough ingredients to support that many cakes. It's up to you how much you want to mass produce or not. And there you go. That's the gist of it. So if you're wondering how to do breeding or what you need in order to get into it, that's all the steps. Those are all the pals that you're going to need, the breeding station, how all of it works. Hopefully I was able to help you out. And also, don't forget to check the links in the description of this video in order to see all the details on that Reddit post about exactly how it all works. If you're one of the math people who like to do all the math and see all the numbers. And also that spreadsheet you can reference anytime you want in order to figure out what you might get, if you want to do it that way. If you don't want it to be spoiled, you can just breed haphazardly and get whatever you want and see how it goes. But that's it. Hopefully helped you out, guys. Now you know how to do breeding in Palworld.